Welcome to the Career Ecosystem Era in Higher Education podcast, where we explore the systemic changes colleges and universities are making to ensure every student receives the career learning they need to succeed. My name is Jeremy Padani. I'm the CEO and founder of the Career Leadership Collective, a consulting company dedicated to helping higher education transform their career ecosystems. Today, I'm here with Dr. Ora Hirsch Pescovitz, president of Oakland University. President Pescovitz and her campus leadership recently launched the OU Pledge, an initiative to ensure that every Oakland University student receives hands-on or experiential learning. We certainly are in an era where college and university leaders are looking to institutionalize the career learning that matters most to students and families, and I can't wait to unpack this today. I've been very grateful to serve the Oakland campus in a consulting capacity over the past few years on various occasions, and I'm genuinely impressed by their ability and tenacity in pursuing innovative, student-centric career services. Dr. Pescovitz, it's a delight to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy. I am just thrilled to be here with you.
Thank you. And perhaps we could start by setting the stage and you telling us a little bit about your unique background, your tenure at Oakland, and the unique setting of Oakland University.
Sure. Well, I have to say, perhaps I have a slightly unusual path to Oakland's presidency. I'm now in the middle of my ninth year as president at Oakland, which I have to say this day and age is a little bit of an achievement.
Yes, it is.
That's true. And I came to Oakland, as I said, through a slightly different path than the average president. I'm a physician, I'm a pediatric endocrinologist, and I spent most of my career in medicine, biomedical research, and health systems. Prior to coming to Oakland, I had spent 3 years as the senior vice president at Eli Lilly and Company, where I was in charge of U.S. medical affairs. Prior to that, I spent 5.5 years at the University of Michigan, where I was the CEO of the health system and executive vice president for medical affairs. And before that, I was at Indiana University for 21 years in a variety of different capacities. I was the executive associate dean for research in the IU School of Medicine. I was the CEO of Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis, and I was the interim vice president for research at the 8 campuses of Indiana University. And we're pretty excited about Indiana University winning the football championship, which is sort of a big deal because we were known as a basketball school, as you know.
Yes, indeed. And I am also an Indiana alum. So what an amazing thing. It's I call it our 100-year flood. So
Unbelievable, right?
unbelievable. And tell us about the unique setting of Oakland University.
Well, it really is unique, and I came to Oakland because of that setting. We're a regional public university just north of Detroit. We have 16,000 students. We are in Rochester, Michigan, and people always wonder where Oakland is and assume that sometimes it's in California, but that's not true at all, of course. And we are, when I got to Oakland, we were known as a Research 3 university. We're now a Research 2 university. And our students come from Michigan for the most part. And when they graduate, they return to Michigan. And I like to think of ourselves as a steward of place. And it was one of the main reasons that I came to Oakland because of how invested we are in our local community. We are a leading, what I call brain gain university, meaning that
Yes.
so many of our students come from the local environment, and they return there. And we're very proud of that fact because we're second in the state for social mobility, which I think is directly correlated with that.
Yes, that's wonderful. And I'm fairly certain that other presidents, boards, and cabinets they're seeking a place to begin with this topic of institutionalizing career learning. And they see it as becoming bigger than it ever has been. It's connected to affordability in some ways. It's connected to public trust in other ways. Could you tell us about some of the questions, discussions, or conversations over the last few years in your leadership that have moved the concept of career readiness from simply interesting to a belief and then ultimately to a prioritization?
Well, I would say that it's become, for us, a major focus. But as I alluded to, it was really part of my major focus and something that really brought me to Oakland. In my job interview, when I was a finalist for the position, I spoke about what I would consider experiential learning, service learning, and career readiness as all part of one concept at the time, because I realized that, again, that our students really came from the local environment. And I realized at that time that individual prosperity, what we now think of as maybe social mobility, is
Yes,
closely tied to community prosperity and economic impact. And so
yes,
if students got great jobs when they graduated, and it isn't just about jobs, really, it's about careers, that they would then have enormous personal satisfaction, great incomes, be able to support their families, but then they would also be able to contribute mightily to the local economy. And that this was a virtuous cycle, which was really highly beneficial, not only to them and their individual families, but to the local economy. And where we saw this taking place in major ways, there was tremendous advantage, again, as I say, to individuals, but also to communities. And so I was invested in being sure that I was at an institution where, if it wasn't already happening, it would be a big part of what we would do.
that's terrific. And some of the career learning topics that you and others are pursuing that every student needs to learn about, they come with a few complexities. For example, you have a high population of students who perhaps could not afford to quit their job to take on an internship in a very traditional sense. But also know that experiential learning is critical for them and will help them. And you're pledging to provide it. So how are you compensating for some of these unique challenges, complexities when you seek to institutionalize something like experiential learning?
Well, as I've alluded to, we already recognized that this was extremely valuable, and we wanted to ensure that every single one of our students had at least one, and preferably more, experiential learning opportunities by the time they graduated. And so I challenged our leadership team to focus on this effort. And so we called it the OU Pledge. And this is our pledge to our students, that every student would graduate with at least one of these kinds of experiences. For the most part, these include internships. They're not only internships, they can include, for example, a global experience or something like that, a research experience, service learning opportunity. But the majority of them are internships. And the majority of those are actually paid internships.
Yes.
And our pledge is that every student will have a minimum of at least one of them. And our team has been working on the development of this program that we call the OU Pledge for several years. And we launched it exactly a year ago. And we're very, very proud of it. We have an advisory board that has advised this program. And we are involved in actually thousands of companies now
Wow.
that that have really become invested along with us in trying to really offer these opportunities to our students. They're not, I wish I could say that every single one of them offered a paid internship. They're
Yes.
not all paid right now, but they're fantastic, and we find incredible things.
Is the timing right to cultivate your career ecosystem? Then consider the consulting services of the Career Leadership Collective and learn from the best. We are the leading experts in helping U.S. colleges and universities build and cultivate thriving career ecosystems. At the Collective, we've served over 1,100 institutions across the country. Our consulting team combines national expertise with deep appreciation for your institution's unique culture, structure, and goals. Together, we can help you design bold, data-informed strategies that scale career learning for every student. Contact us today at consulting@careerleadershipcollective.com.
What we're finding is that the students that participate in these opportunities, first of all, are getting exposed to incredible experiences. These
Yes.
include companies, businesses, schools, hospitals, all kinds of things that give them the opportunity to see if these are careers, not really jobs, but careers that they want to explore. But it's a bidirectional exchange because it also gives those institutions, companies, and businesses the opportunity to expose themselves to our students. And our students are unbelievable employees. And so they tell me, the CEOs of these companies tell me that our students make incredible employees and they want to hire our students over students from other places because they see how diligent they are, how hardworking they are, how dedicated they are, how committed they are. And they know that if they're this good as students, they can only imagine how great they're going to be when they're graduating and they become ultimate full-time employees.
So good, so wonderful to hear about that. And it really, and kudos to your campus leadership and campus community because that doesn't happen without intentionality. I'm certain of that. And there's an ecosystem that's wrapping around this process that gets the students to the point of being sought after by all of these employers.
Well,
And
we have a leader that's really taken, a lot of these ideas and led it. But it is a big team. But I do want to acknowledge Wayne Thibodeau and Kelly.
yes,
We have, this great team of people that have been working on this effort for several years now.
yes, that's great. And I admire both Wayne and Kelly. And um, related to all this, we've been assisting a lot of colleges in building beyond just a opt-in career office that's buried in the corner and has to carry all the weight. Come see them when you're ready kind of approach. And it's moving toward this ecosystem like what you're creating. And um, I'm really encouraged by the work being done on your campus related to integration of career learning. And what does that look like at Oakland in practice? Could you paint a picture of that?
Well, again, I like to talk about it as being a steward of place.
Yes.
And we designed the student experience to really fit the reality of these students' lives. So it can be complicated because these students, in addition to going to school, may also have another job. Many of them are commuting. Some of them are also supporting families. So it isn't very easy for them. We have a large percent of our students that are Pell Grant recipients. A large percent of our students are first generation students. We have many underrepresented minority students. So their lives are complex, but we make this experiential learning opportunity a big priority and we really help them. And so we do a lot to try to remove barriers. And those barriers, to a large extent, include barriers of time and barriers of money. And
Yes.
so we focus on really minimizing those barriers. So when we talk about flexibility of time, with respect to our classes, we really work on trying to make sure that we can offer online classes, we can offer hybrid classes, modular classes, high flex, and we pair that with advising, tutoring, and other programs. When it comes to making school affordable, we do everything we can to make it as affordable as possible. And I'm really very proud of the fact that almost no students pay the full cost of tuition, which really is, for the most part, affordable. But
Yes.
60% of our graduates graduate without any debt at all. And those who do graduate with debt graduate with less than $23,000 in debt. And the Wall Street Journal recently did an analysis that shows that um, because they get such incredible jobs after having had these amazing internships, that they're able to pay off the debt if they have it in less than 19 months. And so it's really so rewarding to see that
Wow.
school really is um, an affordable experience for our average student. And a large part of that really does have to do with the fact that we've given them these great careers that lead to these high-paying opportunities for them in careers that are really exciting for them and really rewarding for them as well. And so it's part of an ecosystem that we're very, very proud of. Um, so I think that while it looks challenging on the surface, we do everything that we can to help break down these barriers.
Yes. And I loved how you hinted at, and it's having been up close at your institution, it's really delightful to see how career learning is now becoming embedded into academic advising and in the instructional experience in the classroom and the flexibility that your classroom experience now provides. It's really fantastic to see that. And I've been kind of watching this over the last few decades, and I write about eras, and we've seen this spike in the last couple of decades in career readiness or career success language showing up in presidential strategic plans um, as an item of importance. But a lot of it is supporting it just in principle, but you're talking about supporting it in practice and investing resources and investing strategies and investing time in this. So if you had one decision or commitment you'd urge some of your peers to make to move beyond rhetoric and into the transformative space, can you talk about what that would be and why that would be important?
Well, I have to say that the reason it's important, of course, is because of the incredible opportunities that it affords the students. But again, I think that what's so rewarding is that it also enables the university to develop very close relationships with local companies and businesses. So
Yes.
it has a lot more benefits than just for the students themselves, which of course is our primary priority. But it really benefits the university's relationship in the community. It gives the university a great reputation within the community as well. And I think it's really so impressive. So what we've tried to do is embed what we call career and life design into our courses.
Yes.
And and that I think has also made a big difference. By the way, in terms of our courses, we've tried to have our faculty be very flexible and adaptable just in terms of their own curriculum. So we're in the automotive capital of the world. The
Yes.
main automotive industries are right here in Detroit and outside of Detroit. And so, just as an example, when we work with the automotive industry, we hear from them what they want our students to learn in terms of curriculum so that they're prepared to then work in the automotive industry. We are very willing to adjust our curriculum so that our students are learning what they need, not a hypothetical curriculum that our faculty think they should know, but a curriculum that the companies want our students to know. So we're willing to adapt our curriculum to be whatever is conducive to the marketplace. And so it's this bi-directional exchange. And at the same time, we want to prepare our students to ready them for these careers. So it's what we call, life design. And
Yes.
and we did learn this, I have to say, to a large extent, because several years ago, My vice president for student affairs handed me the book Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and David Evans from
Yes.
Stanford.
Yes.
And we've benefited a tremendous amount from that. But it's more than that. It's, it's that life design, but it's also career and life design, but it's also embedding our curriculum with the knowledge that our businesses really want us to have.
I love this. And I can't help but think that this is a, a major variable in how you are gaining, sustaining, retaining public trust. I mean, public trust is a big issue right now for higher education. And it's much different when you can say our students, when they come here, they design a plan for their future. They're all going to experience it through internships. And I really think two of the biggest issues with public trust are affordability and career readiness. They sit squarely in the ROI space. And how do you see this connection with career ecosystems and the public trust?
Well, I do think we still have work to do to fully regain the public trust. But I think one of the ways that we can do that is by having, it's not really by me telling the story, it's by our students telling the examples, their
Yes.
own story. Because when, obviously people assume that I, as the university president, am going to say how great the university is and how we contribute massively. But when students tell their stories, I think it really makes a tremendous difference. And I have to say that we have so many amazing stories of students who've come from all kinds of different backgrounds and environments and have been the beneficiaries of programs like the one we're just talking about now,
Yes.
where they've invested in this career ecosystem. They didn't necessarily come to college knowing what they wanted to do. They weren't sure what career path they were going to take. And then they got exposed to
Yes.
something on the one hand in their classrooms, but on the other in these real world experiences that we've afforded them. And then when they did that, they all of a sudden said, gosh, I can do that. And they might have visited our career and life design team, and then they found new friends, they found mentors, they tried out these different experiences. They may not have liked the first one that they tried.
Yeah.
Uh, but then they went and tried a second one, or they loved the first one that they tried and they said, I'm going to be an engineer, or I'm going to be a nurse, or I'm going to be a teacher. And those experiences then help them solidify the career path that they then wanted to pursue.
Yeah, there's a lot of research that points to that iterative process of exploration being a high impact practice for students, both finding greater satisfaction in their institutional experience, but also with their future career success. That's really terrific, Aura. Um, well, I'd love to hear a little bit about your strategic plan and maybe one or two kind of big next steps that you have on the horizon that might also assist with student career success.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll mention one thing that we have just launched. We've just launched a new challenge grant program. It's deeply embedded in our feeling that we are, as I've said before, stewards of place.
Yes.
The idea that the university is deeply embedded in our location. And, at Oakland, we're really fortunate to be in the center of the largest population center in Michigan, and also the largest business center in Michigan. And so, but because of that, we feel that we have this obligation to really make a difference in the community's behaviors, their quality of life, and as I alluded to before, also their prosperity. And so we launched just a few months ago a grant challenge, and we've been soliciting grant applications from faculty and staff, applications that must include students to move the needle on real world challenges.
Wow.
And the idea being that, and we haven't awarded them yet, so I can't tell you what the outcome's going to be. Our intent is to award two $200,000 grants to program teams, and again, they need to include students that will solve, or at least partially solve, in collaboration with community members, some real world problem in any area. We did not restrict the area, but it could be in any domain. And the idea is that this hopefully will excite our students. There are plenty of problems in this world to solve. The idea here is, though, they should be in our local community. They don't, I mean, there are plenty of problems around the world, but here we're looking for projects that are local or regional.
Yes.
And we're challenging our teams to come up with exciting ideas, but not just that they be exciting, but that they're going to move the needle on solving them. And even though we're investing in these projects, we know that the amount of money that we're investing is not going to suffice to solve the problems.
Yes.
So part of the criteria for getting funded will be that they'll come up with sustainable funding and sustainable efforts, because to be honest, having been a scientist myself for most of my career, I know that you can't solve these big problems in a short time. And so
Yes.
the idea here is to really make headway on solving them. And from my perspective, I'm very hopeful that this will really excite our students about what they can do long term with their careers.
Yes. And what a testament to investing resources in what matters. And I have to say, I'm on the edge of my seat to see what you award, who you award it to, and to kind of follow the results of it to see how it works. What a terrific innovation and thought project for those that are involved.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, although we only are planning to award two, I've already heard from the review committee that there have been so many great applications. My thought is that just the challenge itself would elicit these great applications and these great ideas, so that the other ones, even if only two get funded in this first pass, that we'll figure out a way to get the other ones funded eventually, but that those that
Yes.
don't get funded will find another way to get their projects funded, because if these are great ideas, then we don't want them to just be stuck on a shelf somewhere. We want them to get pursued.
Yes. Well, and I bet if you put this out there into your region, you will have some uh, local and regional corporations who are really interested in seeing the results as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for our listeners, the presidents, provosts, VPSAs, cabinets, councils of deans who are listening to this saying, we'd like to take the initial step in starting to transform our career ecosystem. Where do you recommend they start?
Well, one thing that they can do is read your book.
Oh, thank you.
I think you have a great book, and I suspect you'll be able to give them the information on how they can get it. Why don't you
Absolutely.
why don't you tell them how they can get it?
Yeah, if you have not got a copy of the Career Ecosystem Era in Higher Education, we encourage you to do so. You can find it at careerleadershipcollective.com, and you'll be able to see the podcast, all of these episodes, and get a copy of the book for your campus. You can get it on Amazon or in bulk order.
And the book that we read too, the Stanford book, I think was also really great. Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. Those two books really helped us think through what we thought was best for us at Oakland. But I think every university probably does want to tailor their program to their respective campus, their local community, their faculty and staff and students. But I do think that we all learn from one another. None of us is in a vacuum, and we all benefit from the work that others have done. So And then the other thing I think that they definitely should do and can do is talk to the local companies and businesses and see what they can offer.
Yes.
I think that they would be surprised to see how many of those companies and businesses really do want to be supportive. We haven't gotten as much, sort of generic, unencumbered support as I would like, but what we have gotten is companies that will absolutely offer paid internships.
Yes. Yes, it's really wonderful to see all the things that you're putting out there. Well, for our last question, in the midst of it all, if you could paint a picture of the future of higher education, what would your hopes be?
Well, I'm very optimistic about the future. I'm the chair of the ASCU board. ASCU is the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, which for the most part is the regional public universities in our country. And I see us as beacons of hope, that we
Yes.
deliver on America's promise to uplift both our students and our local communities. And I think that what we just spent our time talking about is really where there is tremendous promise. When I meet with our students at Oakland, I am just incredibly inspired. They are just so, so amazing. They're optimistic, they are driven, they're hardworking, they're capable, they're smart. And I personally am, um, a lot of people are negative about the state of our country or the state of the world. I'm not at all. I am filled with promise about what the future holds.
Dr. Ora Hirsch Pescovitz, president of Oakland University, thanks very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Jeremy.
And you can catch all the episodes and subscribe to the podcast and our newsletter at careerleadershipcollective.com/podcast. Send us your questions, your thoughts on what's working in your career ecosystem and challenges you'd like us to address to podcast@careerleadershipcollective.com. We are building a new era together. Bye for now.